Hello everyone, my name is Marek and welcome to this second devlog, where we follow the developments of a map builder tool. The purpose of this tool is to make it much easier to build maps, instead of having to enter character by character in a text file as we did for our last project. The issue with the last method was that it could get really difficult to work with when the maps got larger. Last devlog we set up a window with a basic menu involving what we call profiles, and each profile is going to contain different maps. We also started on the basic layout of the editor, using lists to group elements and making them responsive to the size of the window. The next step was to add some textures to the white box. We added some default textures which can be used for all projects, but adding your own was a little more tricky. After a lot of pondering, I decided on adding two buttons underneath the texture list, which lets the user open the file explorer to add more textures and a reload button to reload the list. Each profile will have their own folder, and the open folder button will automatically open the right folder for the selected profile. The texture placement was relatively easy to implement, in addition to a phantom texture following the cursor and clamping to the edges of the grid cells. However, when the movement keys were added, the grid was no longer clamped to the edge of the top left corner, and it made it significantly more difficult to take into account the position, the grid size, and the widget position and size. I would also like to take the time to give you all a huge tip that I often use when encountering seemingly complex bugs in your code. The brain is a wonderful tool that offers very cool functionalities that you can take advantage of. One such functionality is the subconscious mind, which has a lot more processing power than that of your conscious mind, as if it was multi-threaded. The trick is to simply imbibe yourself with the problem, feeding all the information to your brain, in other terms try to fix the bug. Then if you find yourself spending more than 30 to 60 minutes on the same problem, take a break, and be sure to think about something completely different. The problem at hand will sink down to the deeper level of your consciousness, and your brain will continue working on the problem in the background. When the solution is found, it will magically pop back into your brain. And voila! Sometimes it's a great idea and you feel very smart, sometimes not. And if that's the case, just give the problem back to your subconscious mind and wait for the next idea. In other words, never spend more than a certain amount of time on a problem, because you are more likely to get an answer faster if you move on to something completely unrelated than if you keep going at it for 6 hours straight. Now, back to the map editor. There are a few issues that need some fixing. The list does not yet feature a scroll bar, which makes it all overlap the bottom elements when there are too many textures in the list. There is a horribly frustrating overlap before correctly wrapping, which only happens on horizontal lists. And we cannot yet create any profiles or maps, so let's fix that in the next devlog. Thank you for watching, and check out the project on GitHub.